So you guys wanted it, but here it is, an aftermath of my Camry from Beaton. This car did pretty well, but realistically it did not hold together as good as I wanted it to. Realistically, for a Camry wagon, I should get 4, maybe 5 runs out of this thing, but after Beaton, I broke both rear trailing arms. I had to cut almost 18 inches of frame out of rear, I think driver's side. Yeah, rear driver's side, the frame is absolutely gone. I physically had to cut it out with a grinder and basically discard it like a piece of trash because it was not doing me any good. Motor started getting hot in my heat because I did lose the rad, but I was able to keep going, keep starting it. Cage did pretty good. Nothing really bent too much on the inside for being a tossed together cage. Other than that, everything went pretty good. Gas tank and the floors around the gas tank have started to go, but they're not to the point where they're completely gone yet. But the rear of this car is gone. There's nothing left of the rear of this car. I really thought this thing would kind of hold together a lot better than what it did, to be honest. So I wasn't really impressed with the rear of this car. To be honest, I think sedans might actually be a little stronger in the back, but this thing was pretty rotted, so I don't know if that's the reason why the back went the way that it went. Now let's bring our attentions to the front. Those hood shocks still work, so that's a good sign. But when it comes to frame, the frame does not work. That's right, the frame on this thing is just gone. If you can see right down there, subframe actually went as well. Let's take a closer look here from the top. So I'm standing directly in line where this frame should be. As you can see, it goes straight, 90 degrees, and then about 30 degree all the way back to firewall. So the whole frame has buckled sideways. Like you can see, the gap between the frame rail and the top of the transmission is huge. I don't understand why this car went so bad. I wasn't even really using the front that much. Down here at the shifter, the subframe bent and came up to it. I have actually lost park, and I'm probably going to lose reverse very shortly. So if I run this again, I'm probably going to have to notch this out with a torch just so I can keep some of my gears. That will make this car substantially weaker in the front, even though that it's pretty much gone already. Passenger side frame rail stayed straight on this one compared to how the other one went, which I was actually quite surprised about. But believe it or not, what actually took me out of the demolition derby, don't worry about this. I knew that was like that going in the heat. But if you guys can see, my down inside there, my timing belt actually snapped. So I guess I'm gonna have to replace the timing belt on this. As soon as you try to turn it over, you can tell that there's no top end, the valves aren't lifting. Just freely turns over quite easily. So we'll have to do a timing belt on this. It's not that hard of a job. It's maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And because of there's no alternator belt, it's going to be even shorter because I'm definitely not putting an alternator back into it. I did lose brakes quite early on, but I didn't pop any of my front drive tires, which kept me moving and beaten very well. Some good shots. My seat broke in the heat, and it caused me substantial pain still as to this date in my back because I basically folded my back around the seat. I actually have a bruise in the center of my back from that post-to-post bar. So for the heat, we threw the ratchet strap into it. But overall, I'm really not impressed with this wagon. I think my sedan was actually a lot tougher in the back, and that's usually not how you should go with these things. But then again, this thing was super soft, so you have to take that into some account. But I'm at the point now where the front frame is wrecked, the rear frame is wrecked, timing belt's blown. Do I quickly throw a timing belt into it and try to get one more run out of it, or do I just use it for parts? Because realistically, nothing in the front is bent. None of my tie rods are bent, struts, none of it, control arms, axles, everything in the front is good. So I personally want to try to fix it to get one more run out of it, but it's at the point now where I don't really know if it's worth it. And that's kind of a sad point because I paid a pretty damn price for this Camry wagon, and I wanted to get like 4 runs out of this thing. And it's not going to happen, and it's quite depressing. I don't know. Holy decisions. We'll see what happens. Maybe where it's going, I can try to pull the roof down to act as more of a back bumper on the back of it. Who knows? I'm not too sure, but the hatch is basically completely inverted and right up towards the ceiling, and it was quite daunting having that thing come at me. Like, that's where the hatch should be latched, is to that. So that's it's kind of shit. It's kind of bad. But even though the rear shocks were rotted out of it, they kind of stayed where they're supposed to stay, which is impressive because I was trying to use the back of this car almost as much as possible. But there's nothing left. Nothing left of the back of this car. But what do you guys think? Do you think I should fix it and try to run it again, or just use it for parts? I don't know. It's a tough call as of right now. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. And make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. And if you have any aftermath videos or photos or anything like that you want to share, feel free to throw them on Zach's Workshop on Facebook. Until tomorrow, take care, guys.